Greetings, YouTube. This is the Garage Autonomist. I know that everyone is talking about the recent murder of Heather Annal, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly, also known as Ivy of the Skeptic Feminist channel. This tragedy probably hits home for some of us because not only does this involve YouTubers, but particularly the Skeptic Feminist was part of the atheist and gender politics sector. The channel was hosted by Heather, Alexander Kolpakov, best known as Russian Deadpool, and homicidal Harley. Alexander was the one who committed the murder, and it's well known that he was in a polyamorous relationship with Heather and a woman on Facebook who identifies herself as Alexander's domestic partner. I will not name her name out of respect. I subbed to their channel about 4 months after I started my own. I was drawn in by their silliness while talking about serious subject matter such as rape culture, polyamory, women's self-defense. And then later, they started doing these debate streams with MRAs and pickup artists and other alt-writers, all for the sake, it seems, to want to bridge gaps and start a common ground dialogue. That was the first red flag for me. Plus, their little diatribes on how morally bankrupt the SJWs can be began to be a real fucking bore. It seemed that they were on this trajectory like Woolly Bumblebee, where they needed to grandstand on some centrist platform, calling a pox on everyone else's houses. I've been there and I've done that, and so I unsubbed from them, especially after the Johnny Garbage debate, where they advocated U.S. imperialist intervention to stop the ISIS rape camps, as if rape wasn't happening anywhere else. As I was getting my own head around this issue, I realized there were more dimensions to this tragedy than the angle that I was going to come at, which was the male feminist commits a violent act thing, and I changed my mind in the last minute. It was going to be a live stream, but I felt that I was trivializing the loss of someone's life, and mainly, when I do videos about male feminists, I often like to keep them kind of trolly and funny. Anyway, this situation goes beyond those kinds of politics. This is an issue about violence against women as I see it. I know the circumstances of the incident are not clear as of now. It's been rumored that the surviving domestic partner of Kolpakov has posted on the channel's Facebook page before the post was taken down that he had a psychotic episode before the murder had happened. It's known that Alexander was in the military, and so there is now a PTSD narrative as to why this happened. While PTSD could be plausible, as well as the whole repressed misogynist and a male feminist body narrative, I really don't want to settle for a quick and easy answer. What I'd rather do is say that Heather's death still falls into the ongoing statistic of women murdered by men who supposedly love them, regardless of the man's ideology or if he has a psychotic episode. We as men need to take full responsibility for the way we deal with violence and the culture that we've created, which always seems to hold violence as the default action in relation to how we process our emotions. If the PTSD argument is the line people want to go with, then what Alexander should have done was seek help a long time ago to deal with his post-traumatic stress disorder. If our enemies want to go with the usual, this is what male feminists do, which my point of view is not too far from that argument, then you know the issue there is that he, like so many other progressive males, we think superficially, taking on an ideology without self-analysis and how our own male-dominated culture has affected us is some easy cure. Patriarchy and misogyny are like a drug for us. We have been indoctrinated with this poison from birth. It is impossible to think reading a few books and gaining the trust and laurels from women is all that is needed so one can become a zealot of gender politics. It seems as if when this happens, if a woman doesn't act the way we want her to, or she becomes quote unquote difficult, that's how being indoctrinated by patriarchy works on our sense of entitlement over how women react to us when there's a conflict. If they call us out, if we are getting in a heated fight over house chores or money, We may react in either a remotely negative way or to a life-threatening and lethal way. I guess we will find out the whole ugly truth of this case in some time from now. But here is where we as men need to learn a lesson. And while doing that, we need to refrain from telling jokes, try to make damage control, or do a bunch of finger pointing about the death of Heather Annal. This is the Garage Autonomist.